European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good morning, everybody. You are listening to the world's biggest sports radio station. It's talkSPORT. My name's Max Rushden. Alongside me, Barry Glendenning. All of this brought to you with Travis Perkins doing what matters for the trade. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. How are you, Barry?
I'm flustered again for the second week in a row, Max. I nearly missed the circle. If anyone had been watching on the YouTube channel or wherever they watch, on their televisions, I guess, or maybe their phones or their tablets, they would have seen me foostering around under the desk.
What's happened?
You know these special service earpieces we've been issued with?
Yeah.
We don't do the old traditional cans anymore, headphones.
No. So we're nightclub bouncer earpieces.
Yeah, so my nightclub bouncer earpiece disconnected from the wire, which discreetly is tucked behind my ear. It dropped.
So could you hear nothing?
It fell on the ground and it's rolled under something. I can't find it, Max. I rushed out and found a replacement.
Okay, that's exciting.
So big
because
news.
We couldn't have. I mean, it is big. You know, Dan says if Max Rushden is the replacement bus service of talkSPORT, which I was called on Wednesday, which is a great, let's face it, that's really good stuff.
I thought Dan Kelly was
Barry
the replacement bus service.
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's probably a train, isn't he? The whole point about Danny Kelly is, he's like a chauffeur service.
Danny Kelly is a replacement bus service I would enjoy, being forced to board.
Yeah. But it says if Max is the replacement bus service, then Barry is the spare can kindly offered to you by a stranger on a long train journey, says Dan. Another Daniel says, does Barry get hung out to dry like last week, Max, or is your internet connection okay? It's a good question. It was around the footballer game last week. That's when the nerves set in, where the internet just disappeared, and it became Barry Glendenning FM. And it was an exciting moment. What came from it from me was the amount of love there was for you, Barry. I thought, I don't mean that in a patronizing. I know you think everything I say to you is patronizing.
Any praise you give me automatically sounds patronizing.
But I do think that, we are a professional outfit, right? It can't happen too many times.
We are professional.
I'll get a phone call.
Insofar as money changes hands. We do this. We provide this service. We get money in return. I think you get a lot more than I do. I don't know.
No, I don't know. Maybe you get more than me. We haven't had that conversation.
No. It would be vulgar, Max.
It would be vulgar, yeah.
Let's have it now on air, live.
Do you know what? If there is a conversation that someone would like, it would be, what are the wages of the tour? Because football, we all know what footballers get.
Yeah.
We all go, I can't believe he's on Raheem Sterling, 325 grand a week in the bomb squad. Look, I'm friends with management, Barry. I'm sure you are.
No, I'm not.
Like, are you not friends? You're not, okay, good like this.
I barely know them.
Maybe Friends is, I don't know if Friends is pushing it, right? Because
do you go on weekends away, like lads holidays with the boss?
I don't go on weekends. I don't go on weekends away with anyone. I don't go on weekends away with anyone, sadly, Barry. But, okay, Friends is because you've always got to have that there's got to be an edge in that relationship, hasn't there? Just in case they've got to give you the bad news. I don't think I know any of them well enough to say, look, do us a favour. We could really do well. We could really get some viral clips by reading out the wages of all the talkSPORT hosts. But I think it could be our greatest work yet.
I think that if we did that, and I was hearing those wages for the first time, I would end that particular section of the show with a massive air of grievance about me.
But the big question, Barry, is because it was sprung upon you last week. Have you spent this week preparing some kind of soliloquy for when it becomes Barry Glendenning FM? Because it could, that could be you could have found your calling. It could be that you want to go and launch your very own radio. You could pop down to Talk Radio. You'd be a hit there.
I
think so.
With my massive right-wing views.
Yeah,
I'm the most wishy-washy liberal around after you.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Or you could go on to Virgin Radio. That's the thing. Do you? Is there a contingency?
I think I would like Virgin, because if what happened last week happened on Virgin, I could just play a song, and then I could play another song, or I could play a really long song. I could play Stairway to Heaven, followed by Bohemian Rhapsody. That's 25 minutes right there.
I think actually it's a great shout. I think you should just have that lined up here. I don't think anyone would mind if you just said,
no, they're two good songs.
They're two good songs. People can't complain. If you hear Stairway to Heaven, you're not going to switch it off. Like Jerry says, if the replacement bus breaks down, Barry is the replacement taxi who will insist till the end of time he is only 5 minutes away. Lots of people questioning whether we actually get paid for this. But have you got a contingency, Barry? Or are you running free and wild?
No,
are you commando again in this world?
I did say to you that I should have a contingency, that I should write an emergency script. But you suggested to me that if that ever happens again, I should just tell people everything I don't like about you, the real Max Rushden.
Yeah. Are you
and saying if I'm going to be honest, I don't think that's a script I need to prepare. I think I can wing that. The Max Rushden I know.
Wow, and I think people would really like that as well. How long would it be, Barry? I think I'll put everything out there. There's nothing.
Well,
there's nothing the listeners don't know about me.
Yeah, you are annoyingly, say what you see. What you see is what you get with Max Rushden.
Yeah. But not in that way. Not in that way that annoying people say. You either love me or you hate me. I tell it like it is. Not like that. I hope.
No, you're not Well, I suppose you are Marmite insofar as some people hate you. I'm not one of them. I hasten to add. Nor would I spread you on my toast. So, make of that what you will.
Now, I did have a possible text topic. I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this? I'm not a boxing expert.
I'm aware of that, Max. Yes. And neither am I.
Many people are. But some boxer, I think he's called Jarrell Miller, got punched so hard his wig fell off. And it was like his hair, and I don't know how wigs normally fall off, but it just kind of like, it popped up like a lid. It's sort of like, it popped right, I got punched in the head and it popped right up. And I thought we could do, and maybe it is rude of two hirsute people, and one of whom, you, Barry, doesn't even have a grey hair on your head, to sort of make fun of the wig. But I think you could do the text topic and then their wig fell off. I think that could be. I think that's a fair question to ask.
Is that sort of suggesting? I think, is that a wig and is that a toupee he had? Because it's glued on, and obviously, maybe it's the heat under the lights of the boxing ring. I guess it's really hot under those lights. I've never been.
You've never boxed in a toupee, Barry?
No,
you surprised me.
I've never been in a boxing ring under lights. I don't know how warm it is, but I'm guessing the glue must have melted or something with the sweat and the heat.
Yeah, possible.
But what I was impressed by was how his opponent managed to regain his composure and continue punching him in the face, because I would have been on the floor laughing, because every time your man ducked his head or shipped a punch, this little lid flapped up on the top of his head.
It's actually quite a good distraction service, isn't it? If you are going into a fight and you're not the favourite, if you just glue some extra hair to your head and then it just pops up, you could win by default because the other man has just laid on the floor for 10 seconds.
But I saw him being interviewed after the fight, and obviously the toupee came up as a... But he looked fine bald. He looked slightly ridiculous with the toupee on, and he looked very ridiculous indeed when the toupee was flapping up and down on top of his head. But he looked fine bald.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's personal choice, I guess.
But in terms of the phoner or the text topic, and then the wig came off, is that a euphemism, as everything went wrong, or
no? It's a very literal.
Just literally, and then the wig fell off.
Adam's been in touch. Hey guys, for once I'm useful. I'm a barber. Those wigs are called hair systems. So there we are, hair systems. So I mean, I'll happily take it in that direction. But if you have a story, ideally involving sport, where the wig fell off, it could have been yours, it could have been someone else's. In a sporting context, ideally. 8:1089 at Max Rushden, at Barry Glendenning. This is the warm up on talkSPORT. We'll do a Premier League review in just a second.
They seem like a different team. You know, Fernandes is picking the ball up in areas he wants to, and it looks like he's controlling that midfield. You know, you've got Mainu who's come back into it. He's really, amazing performances, really, when he hasn't played in the Premier League since probably May, isn't it? Something like that. So, certain players have come. Yeah, certain players have come back in, Ben, and it looks like they've been let off the leash. And some of the goals against against Arsenal, Cunha's goal was a fantastic winner, but even the second and first goal, Burmo took it so well.
Yeah, I think United have had these players. They've had players that are verging on the edge of world class. They've had them for the last couple of seasons, but they just haven't been able to show it. They haven't been able to go out there and express themselves and play with a smile on the face. I know this system. We all know this system didn't really suit Man United with 3 at the back, and it wasn't rocket science to change it to 4. It really wasn't. So I think everybody is on board with this kind of confidence, and now everybody. But you look at the fixtures they've got as well: Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Palace. The next 4 games. That guy, the one who hasn't cut his hair for a while, the United Strand guy.
United Strand, yeah.
I'm thinking that he doesn't want these to be wins. I'm thinking like, what's he going to do for content afterwards? So.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology. How would you get to that conclusion? That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Good morning. You are listening to the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning with you until 1:30. On the subject of the boxer whose toupee fell off during a fight, and Barry was questioning whether it was the lights. And Barry says, Matt says, I think it's more likely that he was being pummeled with headshots by a 16-stone man rather than the lights affecting things. But who knows who's right at this stage? Anyway, time for Australian Open update. Carlos Alcaraz versus Novak Djokovic in the men's final. Watching for talkSPORT is Toby Gillies.
Can fingernails have fingernails, Max? That's how much Novak Djokovic is clinging to his dream of 25 Grand Slams in the 4th set of this final. He saved 6, count them, 6 break points to win serve in Game 2, with Carlos Alcaraz looking the stronger in this toughest of tug-of-wars. Still on serve here, Djokovic serving 40 love at 2-3, but it'll take something monumental, even by the great champion standards, to wrestle this one back in his favour. Alcaraz working over the Djokovic forehand repeatedly, and it's been working. He leads 2-1, but it's on serve in the 4th.
The Australian Open update on talkSPORT with TNT Sports. Stream every set live on Discovery Plus or watch TNT Sports channels on EE, Sky and Virgin Media. Subscription required. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Just fingernails on fingernails sounds horrible, doesn't it, when you actually think about it? Right, let's do a Premier League review. Do you want to
Max and Barry's Premier League review on talkSPORT.
This text says, not quite a wig. However, when I was at high school participating in the 100 metres whilst wearing hand-me-down clothing, a certain fella decided to make an appearance around the 70-metre mark.
Oh, no.
Upon feeling the draft, I had to quickly rearrange myself to continue to win the race. This is not, it's a different text topic. It's when did you inadvertently expose yourself? It's not the question that we asked. We do not want those messages. Where should we start, Barry? Should we start at Stamford Bridge?
I suppose we should. It was on a day of, I would say, not massive excitement yesterday in the Premier League, but this was a good game of football. I really enjoyed this.
I feel for West Ham. So, just 2-0 up, right? They had so many chances at 2-0. to make, or 2 or 3 really good chances to make it 3, didn't they? I think Bowen had one where they played a little free kick inside and he hit it straight at Sanchez. And then even at 2-2, Todibo hits the post in the 87th minute in a chance that it sort of feels like you can't not score that. I mean, not a great 5 minutes for him, I guess, because then Chelsea score and then he gets sent off. But that is Nuno, who, when Nuno looks sad, he looks so sad. He just has an amazing sad face. And I thought,
it was our pal Barney Ronay who coined the phrase. Was it? He looks like a dying Jedi.
Yeah, and he sort of had a moment, didn't he, at Forest, where he sort of became more like a sort of guy from a Ready Brek advert or something, and there was a real glow around him. But I was so impressed with them for 45 minutes, and I just feel that is the cruelty of football. It's the beauty of the game, I guess. But I felt so sorry for them.
I did feel sorry for them up to a point. I feel a bit sorry for West Ham fans. They've a lot to put up with. I don't particularly feel sorry for their owners because the way they run that club, their relegation is no more than they deserve, I think. But once Chelsea scored, I thought that Chelsea will win this, and they duly did. It's easy to say with the benefit of, but I had a feeling once they scored, I thought, yeah, that's it, they'll win this game. But hats off to Liam Rossinier. The substitutions he made at half-time, made 3 changes. They made a huge difference to the game.
Oh, yeah. Was it Pedro, Cucurella and Fofana? Yeah.
Cucurella scored and Fofana had an assist. What I enjoyed, actually, or what surprised me about this game, that melee at the end that led to Todibo getting sent off, Mark Cucurella was one of very few players who didn't get involved. I think, wow, he was so tired. And I know he'd only played 45 minutes or 55 by the time the game ended, but he just had a look, and normally you'd expect him to be in the thick of this sort of cartoon fist fight, just a cloud with fists and boots flying out of it. But no, he just went, nah, not today. I'm just going to let everyone else get on with it. But
my takeaway from that melee was João Pedro is harder than I am, because if Adama Traore turned to me and sort of and started, there was a moment where he looked at Pedro like he was going to absolutely knock him out, I would have run away very quickly. But João Pedro he stood his ground, didn't they, in scenes that we, of course, don't like to see. I think West Ham could have maybe had 3 players sent off during that moment. It always seems slightly odd where, you can grab someone really hard. Obviously, throttling someone around the neck is worse than like grabbing their waist really hard or whatever. But sort of this where we define it, sort of where does the t-shirt line start? Where does the shoulder line start?
I would say if it's a part of someone you'd grab while dancing with them, it's probably okay. If it's not, then yeah, you're on risky territory. You don't tend to see, you turn on Strictly. You don't see people throttling their partner.
That's a different dance, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. No, it's a very good point. Ed Balls is doing the asphyxiated cha-cha-cha. It doesn't happen. You're right. The Somerville goal was beautiful, wasn't it? That was when a player doesn't break stride, they just run onto it and just stick it in the back of the net. And I really did that one brilliant.
Goals scored from players converting pullbacks, are they becoming more and more and more common now? Because I don't recall watching football as a lad, when I were a lad, that as many goals being scored just as players converting passes that are being pulled back to them from the byline or whatever, running onto the ball and scoring. But it seems to have been something, a sort of a signature Manchester City goal that everyone else started copying, because it's really hard to defend when the ball's pulled back into the penalty area, whatever, and someone's running on. There's very little you can do to stop it once they get the ball to the byline.
I mean, Enzo's goal was the same, wasn't it? I don't know what was the classic goal of the 80s. What was the goal? I mean, if I think back to, if I sort of chance upon this goal from 1984, it's just a really muddy
I'm so
pitch.
sure people come up with no end of examples.
Hoying it about. Do I have any other thoughts from this game? Look, you need to be lucky as a manager, don't you? Like Rossinia's not been convincing yet. And yet he's won 5 of 6. I can't think of a game where you've gone, wow, Chelsea were really good from start to finish of this game. And it doesn't mean, I think he's a good manager and I really hope it works out for him. I like him. I like a lot of what he says. But you just need luck as well.
But Match of the Day showed up this graphic last night to a stat. Lemur Senior became the 4th English manager ever to win his first, was it 3 or 4 Premier League games? 3 Premier League games. Do you know who the other 3 were?
I don't know who the other 3 were.
Right, because when you hear it sounds like a quite impressive achievement. Not brilliant, but he can't do any more than win his first 3 Premier League games. The other 3 were Bobby Gould, Big Sam, and Craig Shaky Shakespeare. So it's not, they had decent managerial careers, Shaky, not up to a point. But, they're not really in the pantheon of, wow. But
I'd put Big Sam in. I'd put him in a pantheon.
Would you?
Yeah, I mean, okay,
But you've played Blockbuster live on the radio with Big Sam. I don't know Big Sam as well as you do.
I have woken up to 8 missed calls from Big Sam when Alan didn't turn up for a breakfast show. I played Blockbusters with him, and I've discussed Toasties, where he turned to me and said, "I'm not a bechamel sauce man," which feels to me exactly what I'd want Big Sam to say.
I don't even know what bechamel sauce is.
It's on the top of a lasagna. Is a bechamel sauce, or on a moussaka, I suppose, depending on what your minced-based bechamel meal of choice is, of course. Jill writes, I used to work as cabin crew on a night flight. Just as we put the lights up, my crew were checking the cabin, occasionally touching the tops of the seats. One of them accidentally touched a passenger's head, and a toupee fell off. They put it back quickly as the passenger was asleep. When the lights went up, it was on, back to front, says Jill. That's great stuff. You are listening to. Do you have any other thoughts of Chelsea West Ham? No, I think we've covered that pretty well, didn't we? But yeah.
Do you think West Ham will get out? Oh, actually, I wanted to ask you, what did you make of West Ham's statement when what's his name? He's gone back to Brazil. Midfielder.
Lucas
Paquetá. So they released a statement in which they thanked everyone at the club apart from Lucas Paquetá. And I was just wondering, did you think... I thought it was a bit petty, if I'm honest, but I can kind of see where they're coming from.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Well, I did see that. Didn't they ban a fan because he had a banner that was saying sack the board, but the reason they banned him for 5 games because the banner was too big.
Yeah,
that was they found a stipulation. That is, come on, guys,
If he'd held up a banner that size with "I love the board, please keep them," do you think he would have been banned?
I'd like to think yes, but I have a funny feeling no. It is the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max and Barry with you until 1:30. This is brought to you with the good people of Travis Perkins, doing what matters for the trade. Find out more at travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. More Premier League review in just a second.
Looking at the points, they're on the same points as Crystal Palace. They're 2 in front of Leeds. They're 3 in front of Forest. They're 8 ahead of West Ham. They haven't won, though, in any of their last 5 games in the Premier League. When they've played,
Burnley, West Ham, Bournemouth, Sunderland and Brentford. And the next 7 fixtures that they've got look pretty tricky. City at home at the weekend, United away, Newcastle at home, Arsenal at home, Fulham away, Palace at home, Liverpool away, straight after the international break, plus the Champions League fixtures thrown into that. Are they too good to get dragged into a relegation battle?
I think they are. And I think a bigger problem for them as well, Sam, is, like Crookie said there, some of these players are turning up in the Champions League. But are you looking at Simmons and saying, look at the standard of players you're playing against in the Champions League? As well. Yeah, Moani hasn't scored in the Premier League yet. But they're 10 points off Manchester United in 4th position. If I'm the hierarchy at Spurs, I'm saying we want to get back-to-back Champions League seasons. Not going to happen this season because they're
Can
miles
you see
off
them
it.
getting back into contention for a European place?
No.
With games against City, United, Newcastle, Arsenal, Fulham and Palace and Liverpool over the next...
They could easily not win a game out of all those games. They could easily not win a game.
He'll be gone if that does happen. You know, he's bought himself a little bit of respite, certainly with a hierarchy. Won't take long for the fans to turn again.
To South Africa with the Barmy Army on talkSPORT.
Competition time now. Your chance to win a week for 2 at the 2027 New Year's Test in Cape Town. Every day of the Test match at one of the world's greatest cricket grounds. Flights, hotels, spending money, all covered. You'll secure 2 places with the official Barmy Army. And here is how to enter. You text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close this Friday at 4 p.m. That is when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus UK residents only. This is a network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Your chance to win. Text 83338 now. Matt and a couple of others have been in touch, Barry, to suggest the reason that Mark Cucurella wasn't involved in the melee was because Adama Traore had thrown him out of the ground, basically. Really, I don't think you should be doing this, but sort of a wrestling move where he's just thrown him out of the ring, which is, I think, when João Pedro, Royal Rumble style wear. But I think Cucurella wouldn't have been knocked out because it wasn't over the top rope. He sort of threw him I would say, middle rope out of the ring. And that's when Joe Pedro said, excuse me, I don't think you should be doing that. And here is a text from Peter in Liverpool, who says, 15 years ago, I went to watch the climax of Liverpool Amateur Football League Old Boys Cup final. I think it was Old Bootleans versus Old Zavarians. The teams had been inseparable during a feisty encounter, some of the players giving evidence of their vast experience, not to say arthritic hips and pension books, and had reached a penalty shootout. The score was level. One penalty remained, which would clinch the trophy. The venerable captain of Old Bootlean stepped up to take responsibility. During the match, his mastery of the dark arts of defending would have banished Sergio Ramos to the Disney Channel. As he stepped up, instead of a Jorginho skip, his left hand reached theatrically for his head. The wig came off to reveal the baldest pate on Merseyside as he slotted the ball into the side of the net. The keeper was completely mesmerised and rooted to the spot. The linesman was waving his flag as though he'd just discovered semaphore. The referee joined the hundreds on the side in pleats of laughter. Before he could think of consulting VAR, the victorious scorer was being carried aloft around the pitch, his wig in one hand and the trophy in the other, says Peter in Liverpool. Oh, that's great. So more when the wig came off, please. More stories like that, please. 8:10:89. Alcaraz serving for the match. We'll go back to Toby Gillies as and when he gets to match point or when he wins it. But it's been a decent old men's final after a brilliant women's final yesterday.
Sorry, I was mistaken, Max. While you were telling that story about the bald penalty taker, I was keeping an eye on the tennis. And it's Djokovic serving to stay in the match. So
okay. All right. That's okay. Okay. You tell me what's happening, and I'll tell the listeners what's happening. Toby is on standby. This is exciting. Let's do Leeds Arsenal then. What a performance from Arsenal, Barry. Did you know, at that moment where I was like, oh, they're wobbling, they're bottling it, and Elland Road is not an easy place to go. And Arsenal made it look like a really easy place to go.
Yes, it was a nice sort of a livener, a nerve steadier for Arsenal, like a brandy before your wedding. But you don't want to have too many brandies, or it could all go wrong. So this seemed just perfect for them. 4-0, range of scorers. Leeds, I think, were uncharacteristically poor from what I've seen of them recently. But, a game against the league leaders is kind of a free hit for them. Nothing too... And Daniel Farke didn't seem too concerned afterwards. He just said it's an average day for us against the best team in Europe. We won't dwell on it. We'll just put it behind us. And I imagine he unwinds by having coffee and cake, as he never does. Which sounds great, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
I'd like to know what kind of cake. I reckon he's a carrot cake man. I'm not I'm not a big cake fan, but I do like carrot cake.
Okay, this is interesting stuff, Barry.
Yeah.
The thing I thought was, Saka's out in the warm-up, Madueke comes in, and his delivery is exactly the same as Saka's, right? The cross was remember so good, but the corner, like the fear is so real that now Arsenal don't even need to attack the ball. There's just like three Leeds players going for it, and it ends up in the back of the net. It's that corner is absolutely brilliant. And then they do go on to score from open play in the second half. And Gyökeres scores. I like him because he scores real League Two goals.
Yeah, that was a nice sheener yesterday.
Every goal he scores is a goal that Steve Butler would have scored in the 90s, and then, Jesus, on the other hand, like that is just the technical brilliance to do the turn and then create the little space and delay the shot until there is the little space to put it in. Is so clever. But, you need lots of different ingredients, don't you, to, make the cake. And that's what Arsenal have, right? And I obviously wanted them to lose because I want them to come second because it would be funny. But I think, as Tony Adams was saying with on the Sunday edition, he thinks they'll run away with it. I don't know if they will run away with it. I mean, we'll talk about Tottenham v Man City in a bit. But that was a brilliant performance. And I think, I understand why Arsenal fans are nervous. And I think that would have done a lot to allay a lot of their fears. I did wonder, Barry, can we have an amnesty on managers and umbrellas? Or at least let them put their hood up, like ever since Steve McLaren, of course. But is being dry a sign of weakness? Isn't that what it is? Is it in this alpha world that we now, sort of alpha, just do press ups and get up at 4 a.m. and be a tough guy? In the alpha male world now, is it just because it's much better? It's nicer to be dry, isn't it? When it's raining, it's just nicer to be dry. Can Arteta have a hood or not? Or would Arsenal have gone on to lose?
I don't think anyone has a problem with managers putting hoods up or indeed wearing hats, although it depends, obviously, what kind of hat. I presume if, like, Joe Cole on TNT last night was wearing, in his role as a pundit, was wearing a black beanie hat. He looked like a cat burglar. He looked as soon as this game is over, I'm off to rob Buckingham Palace or a museum. But I don't think anyone sees a hat. If you're wearing a sombrero or a Stetson.
I mean, come on, let's face it.
Going to get
Arteta in a sombrero. Suddenly, I'm all in on Arsenal. Absolutely in on Arsenal to win everything. The quadruple, please, if Arteta wears a sombrero every game. Absolutely, 100% in for it. And it's an interesting point you make, because I do think they'd be less likely to win the quadruple if Arteta wore a sombrero every game.
I mean, years ago, I grew up in a small provincial town in Ireland called Birr, and one of our local eccentrics used to wear a sombrero habitually every day. He wore a sombrero, and nobody minded. He was. But one night he fell asleep in the pub. He just sort of passed out in a drunken doze in this local pub, and it was before the smoking ban. So we emptied all the ashtrays into the brim
like
of the sombrero, and then woke him up with a start. He got up and walked to the bar, and there's just ash and fag butts, bits of beer mat flying all over the place. It was highly entertaining, probably bullying as well, but it was good-humoured fun. It was banter, Max.
Was it?
Yeah.
Those were the days.
It's banter when you do it to someone else.
When you could cover someone you barely know in fag ash. Those were the days. Kids don't know the fun you can have. Liverpool 4, Newcastle 1. I mean, this was, again, Liverpool really needed a performance, and they weren't that good for, 35, 38 minutes or something. And then really brilliant in the second half. Ekitike, as we know, has been a brilliant signing. I thought that second finish was so good because he takes it so early, and it's so in the corner. And then actually, Wirtz's finish is even better. I love a ball that goes in slowly, and he just places it so well. And speaking of balls going in slowly, Konate's finish, the view from behind when Nick Pope is I just can't quite reach the Holy Grail. There it is, and it's going at like 1 mile an hour, but we all know it's going in. But yeah, Liverpool very impressive is my conclusion, Barry.
Yeah, it's weird because Newcastle have their record at Anfield is dismal. Now, lots of teams don't do particularly well at Anfield because it is, Liverpool tend to win a lot there. But Newcastle in particular have a dismal record at Anfield. West Ham have a dreadful record at Stamford Bridge, and both teams duly lost at their bogey grounds, for want of a better word, yesterday. I just find it odd that you can, be so terrible at one particular ground. And I don't understand, Liverpool generally tend to be better than Newcastle. Chelsea generally tend to be better than West Ham. But you would still think every now and again they'll win. Newcastle or West Ham will win at Anfield or Stamford Bridge.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm unsurprised. I'm unsurprised by those. This is from FF, who says, while working on a farm, one of our tractor drivers very obviously wore a wig, and not a maybe wig, a full-blown defying physics, shouldn't be trusted near machinery wig. It was so bad it couldn't be taken seriously. After months of gentle ribbing, the wig wearer, affectionately known as Wiggy, finally snapped during one such session. In a fit of rage, he ripped off his flat cap, hurled it to the ground, and began stamping on it like it had personally wronged him. Red-faced, shouting and swearing, he repeatedly insisted he did not wear a wig. You can probably see where this is going. going, in his fury, he'd also removed the wig, which he was also stamping on at the same time, while continuing to scream that he definitely, absolutely, categorically did not wear a wig. The silence that followed could have been heard across the entire country. Wiggy never lived it down.
That sounds like one of those Scottish CU Jimmy wigs, the novelty ones, or CU Jimmy hats that come with the wig attached.
Anyway, keep those stories, please. Abby says, Arteta wearing a sombrero is like Slot wearing a Dutch bonnet and Sir Alex wearing a CU Jimmy hat. There we are. Well, yes, I'd have wanted to support Man United if Sir Alex had worn one of those. Anyway, keep your text coming, please, 81089. We'll go back to Toby Gillies in just a second as the culmination of the men's final in Melbourne. And Lee Phelps will join us too.
Did you hear Ray's version this morning? Ed, have we got Ray's version of Second Passenger? Take this in.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. Played 38, won 26, lost exactly none.
Well, you only need the goals when they're running low. Only miss the net when the pressure grows. There's only one star boy by KO.
Saka off the bench to score. They are loving life at the Emirates.
Only know you've been high when you're feeling low. Please, Pep, leave us alone. Come on, Arteta, you've got to bring it home.
Jump on that boat because this is the way that we're going to live the next 4 months.
Please don't let it go.
Wonderful.
Isn't that really beautiful?
I need to jump on the boat as well.
Yeah. Tickets for the unlikely.
Morning all, Max and Barry with you on the warm-up until 1:30 on talkSPORT. Someone's in agreement with you, Barry. This text says, Joe Cole looked like a very specific burglar next to Steve McManaman. They made a very convincing Wet Bandits from Home Alone. All that was missing was a blowtorch to the beanie and an iron print on the face. Anyway, let's go back to Rod Laver. Toby Gillies watching the men's final at the Australian Open.
Carlos Alcaraz is the Australian Open champion for the very first time, and with it comes true greatness, a moment that will go into the history books as the Spaniard becomes the youngest male tennis player of all time to complete the career Grand Slam. It's taken just 3.5 years since winning his first major in New York to lifting this, his 7th Grand Slam title, via 2 of each of the others in America, France, and at Wimbledon. And he's done it in style, denying the great Novak Djokovic in 4 sets as he himself bid to become the most successful singles player of all time. This is his first ever defeat in a final on Rod Laver Arena, having won his previous 10. But after that grueling semi-final against Jannik Sinner, this was simply too much for his 38-year-old legs. Djokovic took the first set 6-2, and you always felt he might need to win this in straights. But Alcaraz's more aggression in the return from that point was the difference. His serve was never never broken again, while he did so twice in each of the second and third sets. The great champion showed insane resistance, straining every sinew to live with the younger man in the fourth, saving 6 break points in the second game, and then earning one of his own that would have taken him to 5-4 with a break. But Alcaraz was the stronger, the more resilient, and maybe simply just the younger. He out-toughed Djokovic, and just as a tie-break looked likely, he put the pressure on when 6-5 up, under which the Serb wilted. Alcaraz broke to 15 when Djokovic went long. History for Alcaraz. He beats Novak Djokovic 2-6, 6-2, 6-3, 7-5, completes the Grand Slam at just 22 and is the Australian Open champion for 2026 after a masterful display.
The Australian Open update on talkSPORT with TNT Sports. Stream every set live on Discovery Plus or watch TNT Sports channels on EE, Sky and Virgin Media. Subscription required. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Well done to Carlos Alcaraz there. It is the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max and Barry with you until 1:30. Let's look at the latest odds ahead of today's action with William Hill.
In the Zone on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Final One Standing. New from William Hill. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org. Terms and conditions apply.
Lee Phelps joins us. Hey, Lee.
How you doing? You okay?
We're very well.
Very good. Thank you.
We expect you to be as enthusiastic about this as Toby Gillis was about.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Carlos Alcaraz.
Gold weekend. All Final One Standing leagues roll on after favourites winning. I can do that bit.
Give
I
it
thought
more.
this is a bit more understated.
I don't think I've ever been that enthusiastic about anything. Hats off to Toby. I have to.
No, it's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Those updates have been fantastic all the way through, haven't they? Brilliant.
What do you think the most enthusiastic you've been about anything is, Barry?
God, that's a good question.
This is a great question.
I'd have to have a think about
This
that.
might be the greatest question ever posed.
Yeah. It's hard when you're
I
put on the spot,
remember some years ago, you know the way I'm doing a half marathon to spite you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, some years ago, I gave up booze for a month to spite somebody else.
Yeah.
And I think when that month ended and I was looking forward to my first pint, I think that is the most enthusiastic on the way to the pub. I think that was the most enthusiastic I've ever been about anything.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Many ways, like enthusiasm. My first call is just to like a pint alone, quietly. In fact, more enthusiasm for that than awaiting the birth of children. I mean, maybe there's there's sort of more long-term benefit. At that exact moment, I don't think enthusiasm, when the baby is arriving, is not what you're feeling. Anyway, Lee, you didn't come on to discuss
panic,
this.
isn't it?
That's more like
terror.
That's what your head tells you should say, isn't it?
Yeah.
But your heart goes somewhere else.
My heart's going,
What should we be enthusiastic about this afternoon?
Yeah,
Well, I'll repeat. Gold weekend. So, all the Final One Standing leagues roll on after favourites winning yesterday. Wasn't a great day for the bookies, violins away, but good for Final One Standing players and punters alike. There's an epic boost on every Premier League game this weekend. So 4 of the 5 landed yesterday. The 5th was unlucky. That was Wolves, Bournemouth, over 2.5 goals. Probably should have been. You get ACCA bet and gets on your football as well. So, yes, another big day in the Premier League. Title race didn't really change much with Arsenal's dismantling of Leeds. 1 to 3 favourites they are. I think, as you said earlier on, Max, there was a lot of question marks around Arsenal yesterday, weren't there? And they answered them emphatically.
They did.
Obviously, City are 7-2 to win the title. Villa 18-1, then Liverpool 80. Same price as Manchester United, 80-1. And the relegation picture, Wolves and Burnley pretty much down according to the betting. West Ham went down to 1-3, 9-4 to stay up. Leeds are now 4th favourites for the drop at 6-1. Palace 7-1. Forest 15-2, and Spurs 14-1. So not a lot of change in the betting for the top and bottom. Really.
God, 14-1, Tottenham. God, what are the odds of them getting anything this afternoon? They have quite a good record against City.
Yeah,
but you can't go into that with any faith.
No. They've got the second worst home record in the Premier League. Only Wolves are worse, but they have won 3 of the last 4 against City, like you say, which is an amazing record. When you look at that record, you think, how?
Yeah,
must have just caught. Obviously,
and I
City
remember
had a
the corresponding fixture at the Etihad. They won it quite emphatically, and everyone was saying, Thomas Frank, great appointment, this is brilliant. So it just shows how quickly things can go. The shape
do you know what?
of the pair.
does anyone do this? I sometimes sort of take results in isolation and think, if you showed me these results at the start of the season, said, look, this will happen, and you'd go, I'll take them, then we have a good season, but actually, if you show them all the results, it's not as good. I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. It's totally futile thing where you just go, look, if you just told me that we were like, I know, well, actually, we are. I was going to say Tottenham are 11 points behind Liverpool. I'd take it, but actually, there's no way of doing that. But normally, you can say, oh, yeah, you beat them and beat them. You go, yeah, it's going to be a great season. But actually,
it's hard to see how they win this as well, isn't it? I mean, the 7-2 to win this, which isn't big enough for me. The draw's 14-5, which is just under 3-1, and City are 7-10. Haaland's got 3 in his last 2 at Tottenham. Obviously scored in the week as well to end his drought. The epic boost on this one is Haaland to score. You get impact sub on your side, so if he goes off without scoring, his sub carries you bet on. Even money from 4-7. I think we can expect goals here. 9 of Spurs' last 13 have featured both teams scoring. You get, as part of Gold Weekend, you get a 50% boost on your bet builder if you get a winner. I've gone City to win, both teams to score. Haaland over 1 shot on target. Shirky assist and Romero card. He got a card in that corresponding fixture that you were talking about, Barry. Impact sub on your player picks. That's 25-1 with your 50% boost. It goes up to 37.5-1. So I think City get the job done. On the other games, the 2 p.m s, decent games here today. Villa-Brentford. Villa are odds against to beat Brentford, which I think is a fair price. The epic boost is both teams to score on that one. Man United-Fulham, which is a pretty big test for Man United, I think. They're 11-20, which is a short price. Fulham are 4-1. I think it'll be a big test because they're dropping down a bit of a level in intensity, aren't they? You play City and Arsenal, it's like a free hit almost. Here, they've got to go and beat a team like Fulham, who might just play them at their own game and lull them in. So Fulham or the draw might be decent. Man United to score in the first half. Even money is the epic boost. And then Forest Palace, a bit of needle from the summer. Do you remember those European issues?
Oh, yes, of course.
And now they're down in the doldrums together. This could be interesting. Even money Forest, 13-5 Palace and 9-4 the draw. The last 7 Premier League head-to-heads, there have been 5 draws between them, 10 goals in 7 games. All have been under 2.5. It should be decent. Decent day in the William Hill Scottish Premiership as well. Hearts won again last night. So Rangers and Celtic trying to claw some points back on them. We've got the England-Sri Lanka T20. We've got World Masters darts with boosts on them. And finally, as part of Gold Weekend in horse racing, the Dublin Racing Festival at Leopardstown, the Irish Champions Hurdle features an epic boost on superstar Lossiemouth to win. That's a 320, 5-4 the price. Winner of 13 of her 16 starts in the last 4 on the spin. So cracking day and goals as well from 2 p.m.
I have to say, I cannot believe that meeting at Leopardstown is going ahead because that course is going to be like a bog. So, I would preach caution if you're getting involved at Leopardstown today. I'll be surprised if they get through the card, and I think there could be some funny results because it has been lashing rain in that neck of Ireland.
Obviously, it was off yesterday as well, wasn't it? So.
But a few friends of mine.
They just got an
old
old bloke with a fork. They just got an old bloke just going around with a fork.
Yeah, well, I mean, a few friends of mine on the WhatsApp group were just saying, could not believe that is going ahead. Like,
I want Barry with his.
reeks
I want you with your stick in the ground. That could be another role. Stick in the ground. Barry's going.
Stick.
Yeah, Barry's going stick. Okay, I'm in. We'll see. Look, if it fills a minute, Lee, we'll take it. Thank you, pal. That was today's odds with William Hill's Gold Weekend. More offers all weekend. Golden. Visit williamhill.com for all the latest offers. T's and C's apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
In the Zone on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Final One Standing. New from William Hill. 18+. Gambleaware.org. Terms and conditions apply.
Broadcaster and journalist Sam Dalling will join us in just a second. We'll look ahead to all the Premier League games this afternoon.
This is Robbie Williams with Angels.
I sit and wait. Does an angel contemplate my fate? Or do they know the places where we go when we're growing old? 'Cause I've been told that salvation lets their wings unfold. So when I'm lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head, and I feel that love is dead. In your car.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion, talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against a real prospect, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good afternoon, all. It is the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning brought to you with Travis Perkins for the latest big trade deals. Head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. Chris, training for a half marathon with man flu, says, on Barry's new gig as a turf specialist, should we call it Sod Barry? This is a nice idea, isn't it? Thank you, Chris.
I want to hear all about Chris's half marathon training. How's it going?
Have you become a running bore?
I have really have. Oh,
what's the latest?
I did 16 and a half miles in 3 training sessions the week just gone. Longest run was 7.5 miles. This Tuesday I have to do 8.5 miles. We're gradually getting towards the...
All right.
7.5 miles. It's an awful long way. I don't know if you've ever run that far. Oh, you have. I know you have.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's boring. It's so boring.
But I imagine you're sort of like Homer Simpson when he was boxing. You know, you're just there. You know, like you're not pulling up trees, but you're not stopping.
Well, I'm running. I have 2 speeds, basically, running or not running. There's no, you know, I'm not going through the gears.
You can, of course, donate to Barry if you just go to Just Giving. Barry Glendenning, you're raising money for Great Ormond Street, and he's raised an absolutely insane amount of money at this stage, sort of pushing £30,000.
Oh, it's over 30 now.
It's over 30 grand.
Due in no small part to the generosity of our listeners. So thank you to everybody who has chipped in a few quid.
Everybody. I should probably donate at some point. Anyway, let's look ahead to today's games with the broadcasting journalist, Sam Dalling. Welcome, Sam.
Hello, Max. Hello, Barry.
Hi, Sam.
Nice to have you on. Actually, let's Villa are playing Brentford. And Villa are kind of in the title race. Tony Adams was on the Sunday edition, and he was talking about whether Villa or City or anyone could sustain a title challenge to Arsenal.
I don't see any challenges in sight. I don't think defensively City are good enough. They're having too many parts of their programme fall away. They're not just going to run now and have the 10 games, 10 win sequence it needs to go and win the league. I can't see that. I can't see Villa maintaining it, even though Rodgers is one of the great players and it's great for England. And I really do like the way that they do hold lines, actually. Their back four is very, very strong and very good. And he's a great manager there as well. So, but I just don't see them sustain it. Hence the squad scenario. So I think the others will fall away, and Arsenal will run to the finish line.
Sam, I think we sort of agree with that analysis, don't we?
It's a tough one because I've not tried to hide in the past that I'm not a fan of Aston Villa because of being a Newcastle fan. I've seen them relegated twice there, but I actually have to admire Aston Villa. I really like them. I watched them last weekend up at St James's Park, and they were absolutely fabulous. They have the art of, the dark arts. I shouldn't use the other word live on radio. The dark arts they are brilliant at. They're so organised, so well coached, but they also have that little ability to find moments of magic. They've got Emi Buendia and Morgan Rogers who can just do that. Something a little bit different, and in this era of everything being very pre-orchestrated and having to follow certain patterns, I think the ability to pull stuff from nowhere is wonderful. Injuries are starting to hit them on. I think Kamara, Tielemans and McGinn, which is basically their first choice midfield, are all out for a decent amount of time. But he's brought Leon Bailey back. He was out on loan. They brought Douglas Luiz back this week, and Tammy Abraham. So I don't know, because we forget that they had that really bad start. I think they got 43 points from their last 18 games. I sort of hope, and it really pains me to say this, that they can go the distance and push in a title race. I don't know if I really believe that, but I would like to see it.
I mean, I think that Everton defeat was so frustrating from a sort of neutral title race perspective, because you're just thinking, well, this is the one where it's a bit like today where you think, well, they'll win this one. This feels like a game they should win. And then, they slipped up against Everton, I suppose. And Brentford have been more impressive than I think we thought they would be this season. The other title challengers are Manchester City. They go to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham have loads of injuries. I have almost... Well, I'm such an optimistic fan, Sam, that I think you never know. But I don't go with any realistic hope into this one.
Did that optimism creep in just this morning, though? Because often it's you spend the whole week being miserable, no chance, and then suddenly something switches in the brain and you just believe on the day.
Well, I think the thing is, because they're just my big team who win things, and Cambridge United are currently 14 unbeaten, matching their longest ever unbeaten run. They won 6 in a row, hammered Oldham yesterday. It's a sort of free pass for me. It doesn't really count for me. So I just sort of look, and what I do with the table is I just add, like, say if they won all their games now, I go, oh, they'd get another 60 points. That'd be quite a good season, I think. But yeah, I don't know what you think, Barry, about Spurs, the Spurs City game.
I don't expect Tottenham to get a result, but I don't think it'll be a massive surprise. Again, going back to the game at the Etihad earlier in the season, Tottenham won that 2-0, should have won it by more. They were really good. I've noticed Tottenham fans don't like it when Palhina and Bentancur start together, but they were in the midfield for that game, and Spurs won it really convincingly. Now, and they do seem to have a bit of a hoodoo over City. So I don't, and we've seen how fallible City can be. So I kind of agree with Tony Adams on the City thing, and I think we're all just conditioned not to expect Villa to win the league. But I would expect Villa to give Arsenal a better title challenge than City, I have to say. I think if City don't win today, I think you can't really see them coming back.
I thought the interesting thing, Sam, is whether there are any Tottenham fans who don't want Spurs to win, given that, and I know lots of Tottenham fans will be yelling that I've even brought that up, but given that it is City and they're pushing Arsenal, but also because they're so frustrated with the situation with Thomas Frank, that you could almost kill two birds with one stone here with a narrow defeat.
Yeah, they really don't like him, do they? Which is a shame because he's a very nice man, Thomas Frank. He always comes across as a very nice man. I mean, maybe behind closed doors he's not. I mean, I'm not saying that based on any knowledge at all. But yes, it is strange. Tottenham fans had given up on him in about September. It felt like it was inevitable he was going to get sacked. I see your point. I take your point. Again, maybe it goes back to, all week they might have thought that. But this morning, when they're turning up at the ground this afternoon, I don't think you walk into a football ground hoping your team are going to get beaten. I mean, maybe some people do. I feel for them. I do feel for them.
Yeah, I don't think so. And also, because actually they're not, I know West Ham, not here, but when West Ham were 2-0 up, I think Tottenham fans yesterday were going, oh man, like they're not a million miles away down there. Of course, it's so tight in the Premier League. Like if they win 2 or 3 in a row and they've got a very hard fixture list, then they can shoot up the table. But they can't take anything for granted. How do we see Manchester United Fulham, Sam?
It's going to be interesting for Michael Carrick, isn't it? Because what a brilliant start they've had with those 2 wins. But in both of those games, I think they had something like 44% of possession against Arsenal and 32, a bit under 32 against City. So they'll be expected to make the running in this game against Fulham, whereas they weren't in the previous 2 games. And actually, Fulham are in brilliant nick. I mean, if you look at the form table over the last 8 games, they're on a par with Arsenal. They're up there in the best in the league. So it's going to be a tough one for Manchester United. I think it always is. Consistency, isn't it? That's the thing. You look at their team and you think, they've got the players, but can they do it consistently? No, Dorgu, I think he's going to be out for a fair old while, which is a bit of a blow. And we might not have said that 5 or 6 weeks ago, but he's been a bit of a revelation for them. And Brian Mbeumo seems to be the man that plays through the middle. He's displaced Tedesco as a centre forward. He's come back from AFCON and been really important for them. So they're almost the most difficult team to predict at the moment, Manchester United at home. So I should be watching that with intrigue.
Well, Fulham are quite hard to predict as well, but you can almost predict with a total certainty they will finish 12th or 13th. Every season without fail. Now, maybe there's every chance they haven't finished 12th or 13th any season in the last 20 years, but in my head, that's where they finish. And you can predict with a fair amount of certainty they'll be thereabouts. But where do you rank Marco Silva? Is he an elite manager? Do you think if or when he leaves Fulham, he will go will it be a sideways step or a step up for him? Do you think so?
There's been talk, hasn't there, for a few years now, and he nearly went to Saudi Arabia at one point, or there was talk of that. I don't think that would have been a step up. I can't remember if I've said it on here before, but the whole Thomas Frank thing might have put a few teams off, some of the bigger sides, in terms of Frank was probably in that same bracket of Silva, maybe even surpassed him at one point because of how well Brentford were doing and had come from almost further behind than Fulham. And now teams are going, can we take that gamble? But I think there's a dearth of proper elite managers out there. I tell you what, one thing, he's very good at making in-game changes. I was having a look I think it was yesterday, and since the start of last season, he's had 24 goals from his substitutes. I mean, that is a Premier League high, and that is a manager who maybe gets a little bit lucky, but who knows how to manage a team in game. So I don't know what jobs are going to be available.
What a fun day you had yesterday, Sam, of looking at Marco Silva's in-game changes. I suppose
You know
it's
how
part of the
wonderful
job.
my life is.
Finally, Forest Palace. Look, Forest, a win today, given West Ham's result yesterday, would be enormous for them.
Yeah, it would. The John Philippe Mateta derby as well, this has turned into. There's a couple of sort of undertones to this one. There's the whole Europa League, Conference League thing from the start of the season. There's Mateta not playing because he's been unsettled, although it doesn't sound like the Forest are the favourites to sign him. I mean, Palace are 11 winless in all competition. They started actually probably better than we all expected them to. And I think Forest 17th, and they're just 3 points above Palace. We thought a few weeks ago, didn't we, when Forest went to West Ham and won down there, we thought, well, that's it, over. But West Ham have rallied a little bit, and Forest fans certainly would have been pleased with that Chelsea last-minute winner. You do think Forest they've got a far better squad than Crystal Palace. Certainly, of those two teams at the start of the season, if you'd expected to get dragged into it, it wouldn't have been Forest. I just feel for Palace fans because this should have been off the back of an FA Cup win. It should have been a season of such joy, and actually it's turning into this limbo year where they're waiting for their manager to leave, they're waiting for their best players to leave. It can't be much fun being a Palace fan.
Sam, thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time, especially because you're not 100% fit and you've delivered beautifully.
I'm in the red zone.
10 minutes.
Thank you,
You're
Sam.
in the red zone. Yeah, thank you, Sam.
You're welcome.
Sam Dalling there. Yeah, he was just messaging me before, Barry. Gastro in the camp with young kids.
Oh, dear.
So, yeah, he could have gone at any time. We could have had a really big moment there for the YouTube, but sadly, neither end went wrong for Sam Dalling against all our dreams.
What a trooper
yeah, I know.
He
does
brave.
it. You don't need to do this. It's okay. But anyway, we'll do a footballer game in just a second. It's the warm up on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. For the latest big trade deals, head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. A footballer game, me v Barry v Mickey Gray versus Gabby Agbonlahor.
It will be an underwhelming Premier League title.
It won't be.
I think it will be.
For Arsenal. If they win the title for the first time in 22
they won't
years,
care.
They will not
No, they won't care.
that it's underwhelming.
But
They'll just
everyone
think it's
else
job
will.
done. Well, yeah, last year he was giving Liverpool stick for the way they went about.
And I've been
winning
proved
it.
right when you look at them this year. It wasn't.
Well, they still won the league.
It wasn't a great Premier League
But they
last
still
year.
won the
But
league.
Liverpool can't. That Liverpool team. That's what I said at the time. It was in March. We're at the Cheltenham Festival. I got a lot of stick from Liverpool fans, but I stand by it. You can't talk about the Liverpool team that won the league last year in the same breath as Manchester City's treble winners, United's treble winners, Jose's Chelsea, Arsenal's invincible.
But it was the first season in their development. It's like this season for Arsenal. This is the first season that they're going to put some silverware on the board. So you don't just automatically put them into a bracket with some of the greatest teams that have ever graced the Premier League. That happens over a longer period of time. It may well be that after that, they had to rejig. They surprised themselves by winning the title last year. They had to rejig. They had to rebuild for the future. It may be that they come again.
Whereas it's a different story with Arsenal. They've been building up to this moment. And I think that's why Gabby says, not to their fans, but maybe to the rest of us, if they are only going to score 69 goals, you've said maybe it is a little bit underwhelming. And I love Theo Walcott, but I can't believe he even asked the question on television, would this Arsenal team...
Yeah, it's a really good listen, actually. And Matt Ford, the most enthusiastic England fan that there is. So download that wherever you get your podcasts. I'm very conscious that, most people are listening to the radio. Not many, but more and more people are watching us on YouTube or TV or whatever. But Dan, the Newcastle fan, says, maybe not what I should be concentrating on, but Sam Dalling has a cracking watering can behind him. Good house plant game there, he says. Thank you for being so observant. Let's play the football again. Big game today. It is me v Barry versus Mickey Gray versus Gabby Agbon-Lahore. Mickey's at Old Trafford. Hey, Mickey.
Gentlemen, how are we?
Yeah, very good. How are you feeling about the game today? Not the Man United game, about the footballer game, of course. Things that really matter.
Well, I was going to shout Mick Heathcote out just for the fun of it, Max, after last week, but I thought I'll throw that in early. But yeah, Gabby's playing. I think it's his debut as well, isn't it?
Yeah, is it? Gabby Agbona, welcome, Gabby. Lovely to have you on. Is it your footballer game debut, Gabby?
It is, guys. Good afternoon to everybody. And I've never won one of these games in my life, so Mickey, it could be an easy win, mate.
You might take to it like a duck to water, Gabby.
What you've got to be careful of, Gabby, is when you shout a name out and Max is about a millisecond behind you, he tries to take the points off you.
Oh, does he?
Careful of that.
Well, no, Gabby, there is a 0.3 second delay.
Delay,
from my
of course.
shed.
Oh, yeah.
From
That
my
Australian
shed.
delay.
Exactly. But Barry will attest to this. And perhaps I should have different priorities. But the thing I hate most in the world is people cheating at radio quizzes. This is an honest game. There's no one to help you here, Gabby. There's no one in your ear. If anyone does help you, you must grass them up and we will get them fired, because that's not how this game works.
My AI app is open at the moment, ready to help me if possible.
Wow, okay. Absolute disgrace. AI will ruin the footballer game. Anyway, no Reece today, so hosting. And people often say, big shoes to fill, when you're but there is no bigger shoes to fill than Reece in the footballer game. Hugo Chambers is doing it today. Hugo, how are you feeling?
Feeling nervous, especially after that intro.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of pressure on because some people try to build up their part in the footballer game, and there's just a way that we like it. The listeners like it to be done.
I was told less is more, so I've message received.
Yeah, but you have to be yourself as well. Okay. We can't force you. The whole business. You are a new host of the footballer game. We'll work with however you deliver it. So look, Gabby, the way it works is just shout if you think you know the answer. If you make no noise in the next 8 minutes, totally fine.
Yeah, it's happens, isn't it? Happens.
It does happen. It can.
Yeah,
it can.
It's life.
Right. Here we go. Let's play.
Okay. First footballer began his career at Aston Villa in 2008. Made 64 appearances for them. One goal.
Agbon-Lahore.
No.
No way.
Went on loan in that
Still
time,
in
though,
Petrov.
to Derby County. Made 10 appearances for them in
Scott
2009.
Carson.
It's not Scott Carson.
Scored one lane. Liam Ridgewell.
Not Liam Ridgewell. Made 20 appearances on loan at Blackpool during that time, where he scored one goal. Made 7 appearances.
Nathan D'Alfonso?
No. Made 7 appearances at Leeds United on loan during that time. Then in 2013, he went to Crystal Palace, made 22 appearances during that time. Then went on loan to Bolton Wanderers in 2015.
Nigeria Coca?
No. Then was sold to Sheffield Wednesday, where he made 430. Barry Bannon is correct.
Oh, for God's sake.
Oh,
the Sheffield Wednesday one, give it, didn't it?
Come on, Gabby, you
annoying.
should have got that one.
Well done.
I know.
I've got to say,
Sorry,
Gabby, had it been Nathan D'Alfonso, Gabby, that would have been the greatest guess in the history of guess the attendance. What a shout!
I was close. He went to Blackpool, didn't he? Yeah.
I have no recollection
absolutely
of Barry
no
Bannon
idea.
playing for anyone other than Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, he did make 435 appearances for Sheffield Wednesday, so that does somewhat shadow his 7th
Can I
league.
just say, Hugo, wonderful pace. Really enjoyed it. Good stuff.
Right.
Okay, here we go. So it is Mickey 1, Max 0, Gabby 0, Barry yet to make a noise. Here we go.
Sounds about right.
Okay, footballer number 2. Careful not to read his name. Began his career at Chelsea in 2016, where he scored 58 goals. Was there until 2021. He went.
How many games, please?
He played 21 games.
21
Tammy
games.
Abraham?
Scored 58.
No, sorry.
Scored 58 in 21.
I've got the appearances wrong, but it is Tammy
insane.
Abraham.
Whoa!
Oh, is that correct?
Out of nowhere.
Easy work. Easy.
Remember Tammy Abraham scoring 58 in 21. Surely we'd remember that. It's like Dixie Dean. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Wow. Well done, Gabby. That's pretty good stuff.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's get off the mark.
Okay. We try and look, Gabby. The idea is we want to pad it out a bit because it fills up the show. So look, just hold it back a bit. Look at this.
Sorry,
Who
guys.
knew Agbonlahor? I wouldn't have Agbonlahor down as elite at this game, but here he is.
AI's quick. Got me the answer in 3 seconds.
Gabby 1, Mickey 1, Max 0, Barry 0. Here we go with player 3.
Right, player 3 began his career at Leeds United in 2003. 3 appearances for them between 2003 and 2005. He then moved to Liverpool in 2005, where he made 4 appearances.
Dominic Matteo.
It's not Dominic Matteo. He was at Liverpool until 2008. He went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday in 2006, where he made 9 appearances. He went on loan to Charlton Athletic in 2006 to 2007, where he made 36 appearances. He went on loan to Aston Villa from 2007 to 2008. Where he made 35 appearances. It's not a midfielder.
I should know this. Luke Young?
It's not Luke Young.
Oh, I know what it is. I can't remember his name. Can I draw a picture of him?
In
2008, Shelby. John Joe Shelby.
In 2008, he went to West Bromwich Albion, where he made 110 appearances. It's not John Joe Shelby.
Scott Carson.
It's Scott Carson.
I was thinking it was a different goalkeeper.
I said that earlier, didn't I?
You did not say Scott Carson earlier. Did you say Scott Carson?
The first question.
Oh, yes.
The first question.
Oh, you did say Scott Carson.
So he's so good on debut, he's answering questions in advance before they're even answered.
Somebody's give Gabby the answers. He's shouting them out.
The wrong way round.
So look, there we go. Final scores. Mickey 1, Gabby 1, Max 1, Barry 0. Thank you, chaps. We may chat to you later in the show, I presume. That's it. What else do you want,
No
Gabby?
winner.
Just 3?
No
just a draw.
winner.
No winner?
Oh.
No. Doesn't have to be a winner.
It's like a test match.
Yeah. It's just a draw. Now we have tea. Now we stop for tea now, Gabby. That's what happened.
Perfect.
Thank you, Gabby. Enjoy the game. Thank you,
Cheers,
Mickey. We'll
guys.
chat to you both in a bit when the team news comes in. Thank you, Hugo. Wonderful performance. Enjoyed that.
Can I jump in with some breaking news while I'm with you?
Yes.
Which
is it about the footballer game?
It's not about the footballer game. It's about actual football.
Okay.
Just to say that Javi Gracia has resigned from Watford this morning with immediate effect. So their under-23 coach there is to take charge on an interim basis, taking charge of their game. The side are currently 10th in the Championship, 4 points back of the playoffs with a game in hand. So they're actually doing all right, but only 2 points from their last 4 in the league and a 5-1 thumping at Bristol in the FA Cup earlier last month. So we will bring you more on that as we have it. But yes, that's to break you the news that...
Sorry, have we gone back in time here? Was Javier Gracia not Watford manager about 5 years ago?
He was. This is his second spell in the club. He took back over in 2018. I'm not 8 years late with that news.
With the breaking news, 8 years on.
It feels like talkSPORT, doesn't it? There we are. Barry and I both looked at each other going, that's when we both learned that Harry Gracia was the Watford manager, and now he's not the Watford manager. So there we go. So listen, the news, I presume you don't have to tell us this, but the breaking news is that Quique Sanchez-Flores is the new Watford manager, and then Harry Gracia will be the Watford manager in about 5 minutes' time. Thank you, Hugo. It is Max and Barry with you on the warm-up. Hugo will give us the news in just a second, and then we'll do a bit of Spurs with Jack Pickbrook, the Spurs correspondent for The Athletic.
But the only problem I have with him, he done it again on the weekend against Arsenal. He played a pass to Mbeumo, and he was at fault for a poor pass. And he's thrown his arms up at Mbeumo, and Mbeumo's actually giving him some back of like, come on. As a player, you don't players throwing your arm.
Why is that wrong? That happens all the time.
I was going to say. But as a player, having played it at the game, anybody throws your arms up at you, you always have. You don't like it. Ask any players playing now, you don't like it. That's what he let himself down at. Garnacho copied him.
Don't compare Garnacho to Bruno Fernandes.
I'm saying he copied him. I'm not comparing him. I'm saying he copied. It's not a good example when you're throwing your arms up at your teammates. What he does on the pitch, his performances,
but isn't
outstanding.
That because he's from a different culture, from a different sort of upbringing, and
it's
he's
a
got
Portuguese mentality,
demeanour. He has, if you look at Jose Mourinho and the way he conducts himself, it's different to the way that Michael Carrick conducts himself because they're brought up in different cultures. And if you're going to have the World League, which
who else do you see do it?
Loads of players do it. Go watch Spanish football.
In the Premier League.
Yeah, but that's the point. I spend a lot of time in Portugal, as you know, and they are that sort of mentality. They are an expressive population. So I think that's why it stands
does
out.
It quite a lot, doesn't he? He gets the arm,
but also just
up in the air.
Graham Souness is going back to a different world, really.
And good afternoon. You're listening to the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning with you until 1:30. Let's do a bit of Tottenham then. They take on Man City this afternoon, 4:30 kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Jack Pickbrook is the Spurs correspondent for The Athletic. He joins us now. Hey, Jack.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hi, Jack.
Yeah, very good, thanks. Why do you think Thomas Frank hasn't been... I still believe in... I don't know if I believe in Frank. I believed in Ange. I was the last man on that Titanic. And maybe I'm the last man here, but I like him. But I'm surprised he hasn't been sacked.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't been sacked because he's so unpopular. Like, it's unusual. It's unusual, I think, for any manager of a Premier League team to reach the levels of unpopularity that Thomas Frank has. And we've seen that... Not actually in Frankfurt, where he was applauded by the away end, but in most of their Premier League games over the course of 2026 so far, he has been booed really personally and directly. So it is a surprise. I don't think it's a good time to sack a manager. I don't think there are other good options on the market at the moment. I also think the club is kind of committed to this idea of patience and rebuild and big cultural reset. It's going to take time, which has been their policy over the course of this season. But yeah, you're right. It is a bit odd.
Do you think, Jack, the criticism he gets is fair, and does he take it personally? He strikes me as you have a working relationship with him. I've never met the guy, but he strikes me as someone who probably mulls over the fact that he's getting booed and really feels bad about it.
I don't think he takes it that personally. I mean, I don't think he enjoys it. Nobody would enjoy it. But I think he is less reactive to outside noise than, say, Ange was. Like, Ange Postecoglou, I think, was very, very tuned in to what people were saying about him, what people were writing about him. Whereas I kind of get the impression with Thomas Frank that he's able to stay blinkered and stay focused on the work that he's doing.
I mean, actually, remember after the City game the game where they won 2-0 and everyone was like, this is great. And I might be making this up, but at some point when things were going well, which was a very brief period of time, he said, look, you don't get too up when things are good or too down when things are bad. You just sort of live this kind of anodyne existence, which is perhaps a really good way to be as a football manager.
Yeah, but I think that's also the kind of thing that all football managers say, whether they actually live up to those standards or not. Like, true. I do think he is... I think the biggest problem that Thomas Frank has got, or one of the biggest problems he's got, is that I don't think he necessarily carries himself in a way which is required if you manage a big team. Like, if you manage a big team, I think you need a certain level of, I don't know whether it's ego or charisma or an ability to say the right things and be the figurehead for the whole organization. And I actually think Ange Postecoglou was really good at that. I think he was a really good figurehead for Tottenham, and he knew what to say and what to do if you are managing a really big club. But I feel like Thomas Frank, for all his obvious strengths, I don't think that side of it comes as naturally to him. And I think that is probably part of why the Spurs fans haven't taken to him.
Do you think their players are good? I know it seems like such a daft question, but I just can't work out. Like, sometimes you look at, and I know they're missing a lot of players at the moment, but if you look at the squad, like, how good is that squad? Where should they be? They should obviously be higher than they are, but where should they actually be?
I think it's a really good question. I think the way I try to think of it, maybe this is a bit basic, is, to what extent would these guys look out of place or at home in other Premier League teams? And there's definitely, if you think which of the Tottenham players could play for other Big Six teams, and I think Van der Ven, Porro, and Romero definitely could. I think Kulusevski and Maddison are both really good, and neither of them have played the game this season. They've both been out with knee surgeries they had in the summer, so you've got to take them out of the equation. Solanke's only just come back into the team. And then the rest of the players they're left with, I mean, with all due respect, I think they're kind of bottom half players, a lot of them. Like Bentancur should not be your best and most reliable midfielder. Like, Richarlison should not be your best and most reliable centre forward. They're both injured as well, as it happens anyway. They've got some good young players like Bergvall, Tell, Odobert, Gray. They're good, exciting, talented young players, but they're all like 20 years old, there or thereabouts. And I don't think they would be like knocking the door down to play for other Big Six teams. So I think there's a lot of weaknesses to that squad, and I think that when you take Maddison and Kulusevski off the table, their only standout, high-quality, experienced, proven players are the defenders.
Jack, do you enjoy covering Tottenham, like, say, over the last 2 or 3 seasons? Has it been fun? Do you wish they were better? Or do you wish they were possibly even worse? I don't know. But yeah, as a journalist, that's your patch. Is it one you enjoy?
Yeah, I love it, Barry. It's always interesting. It's Bill Bauer's a great moment. The weird thing is, like, last season was such a bizarre season, right? They won the Europa League and they had their worst Premier League season for 50 years. And at the end of it, I was completely exhausted and I felt a bit bonkers. And I thought, well, that was mad, but it will never happen again. And this season, they're basically just as bad in the Premier League, and they're also flying in Europe. And it's like, oh, wow, this kind of bizarre thing that happened last season, which we all thought was a kind of 1 in a million blip, is basically happening again, even with a different and not just a different manager, but a completely polar opposite manager in charge. So yeah, I mean, you do often feel like you are. I mean, if you kind of if Tottenham Hotspur is the first thing you think about in the morning and the last thing you think about at night, you do feel kind of insane quite a lot of the time.
I can imagine.
I've just had to try and make my peace with that.
Yeah, and why are they so bad at home?
That is such a good question. I think it's a few things. One is that they are incapable of playing the sort of football that you need to be good at home. Like they don't want the ball. They're not very good on the ball, although they've got a little bit better recently because Siemens has been good. So they don't play like dominant football. I think the atmosphere is bad at that stadium. I think that the prices are too high. I think that that sort of kills the vibe a bit. I think that fans haven't seen any football to really get behind or believe in for quite a long time. I think there's like a big kind of trust issue, for want of a better phrase, between the fan base and the club. So the vibes have been off at home games basically since the middle half of last season, really, after they got battered at home by Liverpool just before Christmas. And I think ever since then, home games have, in the main, been pretty miserable. And yeah, it's really hard because you can't. It's bizarre, isn't it? They spend 1.2 billion pounds building the best stadium in the country, and it's you would think that doing that would give you this stadium, which is so difficult to go to, right? And it's actually literally as easy to go there and get points as the London Stadium. And it makes you think, why do they spend all this money building this stadium if literally any team in the Premier League can just show up and play them off the park?
Jack, Spurs fans for a long time wanted Daniel Levy out, and then he's out. Has there been any discernible difference around the place in his absence?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an important point of mitigation for this season, right? Is that the whole club was built around Daniel Levy, and in a way which I think is kind of uncommon actually in modern Premier League clubs. Modern Premier League clubs are these big, with kind of very well organized and structured businesses, and all of a sudden, whereas Tottenham was run with all the power concentrated basically in one man who'd been there for sort of 24 years running it his way, and now they've had to basically reorganize and restructure the whole club this season, while also playing in doing a football season which is going quite badly anyway. So it's basically they've effectively had to try and rewire an aeroplane mid-air, and it's tough. It's been really tough, and I do have a degree of sympathy with the hierarchy of the club, given how challenging that is.
Yeah, there's a bit of shame they can't just say, "Could we just have a year off to just sort everything out, and then we'll come back."
You know how Glastonbury has a fallow year to give themselves a break every 5 years? I felt very strongly recently that Tottenham Hotspur need a fallow year.
Finally, there is this chat, and I think a lot of Tottenham fans just be annoyed that I'm even asking the question about whether all the fans going today will want to win today, given that City are probably the closest challengers to us in the Premier League season. And I suppose it's sort of, you could kill two birds with one stone. I said it earlier, because they don't want Thomas Frank there either. So you could take a defeat. Maybe that would be the end of Frank and it would help City get closer to Arsenal.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? This is another topic which, when it came round under Postecoglou, this was a big talking point under probably more than it was now, right? Because that was right at the end of the season, and the famous Heung-min Son chance that if he'd scored, then the title might have gone differently. And again, that was something where you thought, wow, what a strange, bizarre thing to happen. That'll never happen again in quite the same way. And obviously, it's come round again for Thomas Frank, and he's having to deal with the same set of questions. I don't know what the atmosphere will be like. The thing is, the atmosphere has been so bad and weird at Tottenham for so much this season that I think the added possibility that some Spurs fans may in fact be supporting Manchester City, how much of a difference is that going to make? The atmosphere's been bad enough anyway. The fans are really better. Yeah, like fans have been. It's very clear that fans have been very alienated, for want of a better word, from both the team and the club and the manager over the course of the season. So this is just like an added level of weirdness to throw into it.
I will have another weird day, Jack. Thanks for coming on, pal.
Thanks, Jack.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
Jack Pittbrook there, Spurs correspondent for The Athletic. talkSPORT Daily as well, the podcast. Ollie Klink's joined by Spurs podcasters Ricky Sachs and Flav Bateman, both been on the show to ask that Tottenham question. Do they want to win or lose against Man City this afternoon? Listen on the talkSPORT app or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll get team news from the 2 o'clock kickoffs at Villa Park, Old Trafford in the City Ground in just a second.
I've got to say, though, I mean, I am with Dino on this one, really, as opposed to yourself, Jay. But I think Thomas Frank should be given Tom. I think the trouble is, you see, it's too easy to sort of say, oh, we're not doing well, sack the manager, right? He's only been in the job 6 months. Let's be frank here, right? I'm going to spell it out for the other fans, right? They're listening to your glorious channel, right? We finished 17th in the league. He has not taken over a team that finished in the top 4. We qualified the Champions League because we won that trophy.
Yeah, we won the Europa League and we had a load of injuries and we sacked off the Premier League at the end of last season. So, yeah, I know we finished 17th and it wasn't good enough. I get that. But there needed to be a massive improvement. With the players that we've got, we shouldn't be where we are in the table. You can't... The performances, Chris, are not acceptable in the Premier League. That's your bread and butter. And look, we're a great side in the Champions League and we're a joy to watch. But that's got to go into the Premier League performances.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, look, we should have done better against Burnley. There's no question about that. But I do think as well, again, this is where with Dino in this one, right? The thing is, I don't think it's all Thomas Frank's fault, right? We need, right? And the thing is, look, this is a hangover from the old boardroom that were there, right? We did not push the boat out enough for signings, right? I mean, we've got a lot of average players in that team, right? I mean, apart from Van der Ven, Porro, and maybe Kulusevski,
Romero.
They are bang average. Romero as well.
Win a trip to South Africa with the Barmy Army on talkSPORT.
England are touring in South Africa next winter. Barmy Army is out there, as they always are, following England. And this is your chance to be there right with them. A week for 2 at the 2027 New Year's Test in Cape Town, which is an amazing city. Watch every day of the match at one of the world's greatest cricket grounds. Flights, hotels, spending money, all covered. You'll secure 2 places with the official Barmy Army, putting you right in the heart of the atmosphere. And here is how you enter for your chance to win. Text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close this Friday at 4 p.m. You have to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus UK residents only. A network promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com for your chance to win. Text WIN to 83338 now. Now, Barry, perhaps not the most important part of the programme, but I relayed the news that a listener was admiring Sam Danning's watering can to Sam someone who was watching on YouTube or on his smart TV in some way. And Sam said that's very kind of the person to say that, but Sam does not own a watering can. So are people now inventing what they're seeing behind the guests?
Didn't recall seeing a watering can in the background of Sam's show. I thought it was some sort of metallic ornamental bird.
Possible.
But then when someone said it was a watering can, I just took their word for it.
I mean, I was sort of mainly concentrating on his face and asking him questions about the 2 p.m. kickoffs. So I didn't notice it at all.
You're a very predictable broadcaster, Max.
Oh, thanks.
I'm scouring the background for niche
You're
questions.
thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
I see. I understand. Here's me with all my boring questions. Okay. Well, why don't I do some more generic, safe broadcasting? Let's get the team news from the 2 o'clock kickoffs. Mickey Gray is at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus Fulham. Hey, Mickey.
Hey, mate. Yeah, and it's one change for Man United after Patrick Dorgu's injury in United's 3-2 win against Arsenal last Sunday. Michael Carrick has been forced into that change for today's clash with Fulham. That change is Dorgu misses out and Cunha comes in on the left-hand side. Their 11 is Lamens in goal with Dalot, Maguire, Martinez and Shaw as the back four. Casemiro and Meno hold in midfield with Ahmad, Fernandes and Cunha in behind Brian Mbeumo. One change for Marco Silva's Fulham from their 2-1 win against Brighton. Kevin moves to the bench and Chukwueze comes into the starting 11. It's Leno and goal with Castagna, Anderson, Quensa, Robinson as the back four. Berg, Smith Rowe and Iwobi as a three-man midfield with Chukwueze and Wilson either side of Raul Jimenez. It's Manchester United against Fulham.
Mickey, everybody has said this point regards this game, which is it will be interesting to see Michael Carrick in a game where Man United are seen as the favourites, whether they should be or not, and where they have the ball and Fulham don't. And I also think Fulham might have the ball as well. But that's the thing that people are thinking going into this game.
Yeah, it's a bigger test, Max, isn't it? I think when you look at the 3 games, if you want, the Manchester City game, you probably expect City to have a lot of possession and take the game to Manchester United when you saw the form that United were in. But obviously a new manager in Michael Carrick coming through the door and also very similar against Arsenal. But now I think there's an expectation, 2 really good performances. They are going to have to ask different questions to break down this Fulham backline. There's no doubt about that. But Fulham are flying at the moment, Max. They've picked up a lot of points. 17 points from the last 8 Premier League games, which is the best in the league at the moment. So this is going to be a toughie for Michael. There's no question. But I think the expectations have risen at Old Trafford, certainly from a Manchester United perspective. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. It's going to be a bit of a war of attrition.
Do you think so? I mean, and also, just on Fulham, if he carries on like this, should Harry Wilson, they'd never give Player of the Year to a Fulham player, but Harry Wilson has been absolutely unbelievable. He's scored so many brilliant goals.
He's been sensational, hasn't he? I think we've always known that he's got a wonderful left foot. I think he was just basically needed the platform to show us on a regular basis, and I think he's doing that at the moment. I mean, 10 goal involvements in his last 11 games, which is, it's incredible. The 2 form players in the Premier League right now, Max, to be honest with you, is Bruno Fernandes and Harry Wilson. Is he player of the season? Well, he's got to be coming into the reckoning. You've got to have a conversation and bring his name into it if he keeps this form up. I'm looking forward to seeing him play today.
Oh, yeah, me too. And we are having the conversation. We're on we're the zeitgeist, Mickey. That's where we are. Let's go to Adam Bridge, who's at Villa Park for Villa. Brentford has the team news. Hey, Adam.
Tammy Abraham makes his second Villa debut. The first was in 2018 away at Blackburn, but he's back today. He's in for Ollie Watkins, as also is Douglas Luiz, who comes to the midfield in place of Onana, who drops down to the bench today. There is another change as well from the side which beat Newcastle last Sunday. Tielemans, of course, injured and out for a long period. Bogard comes in to replace him. So it's Emi Martinez in goal, back four of Cash, Konsa, Pau and Martson. It's Luis and Bogard in central midfield. Sancho, Rogers and Buendia supporting Abraham up front. Harvey Elliott is amongst the substitutes again today for Aston Villa. As for Brentford, 3 changes from that defeat at home against Forest last week. Yarmouth, Collins and Damsgaard are the players that drop out. Utada, Henderson and Vandenberg come in. So it's Keller in goal. It's Coyote, Ayer, Vandenberg and Henry across the back. Henderson will partner Jan out in central midfield. And then it's Jensen, Utada and Schade supporting 16-goal Igor Thiago, who is up top for Brentford this afternoon.
Oh, you say it's that Amadou Onana's out and Louise is coming in, because that's interesting. Like, Onana's such an important midfielder for them, so it's really interesting they bought Louise, who is who knows the club, and Abraham actually. Like, I think they did some interesting loan signings, didn't they, last January with Asensio and Rashford? I think these two are actually, in many ways, could be even better.
Yeah, I think in particular when you talk about Douglas Luiz, I don't think they ever wanted him to leave, but PSR meant there was no option to it, and he also had an interest to go and explore that move to Juventus. I think in bringing in two players they know and they're aware of, who know the Premier League, they know their work ethic. I think one of the issues last season, Rashford obviously started really well and Asensio came in too, and I think if it allowed financially, they would probably have liked to have kept both of those players in the summer. But this crisis in central midfield they have, I understand why he's resting Onana today, because he is so important to them on the fronts that they're continuing to fight this season. So it's probably no surprise today against this Brentford side, Luiz comes in, Bogard will partner him. He's got to manage those central midfielders really well, given the injury issues he's got at the moment.
Good stuff, Adam. Matt says, looking forward to seeing Tammy Abraham giving his goal record of 58 in 20 when he started his career. Let's go to Jeff Peters at the City Ground for Forest versus Palace.
So no JP Mateta for Palace, as Oliver Glasner says it's better not to play him due to outside noise and a potential move away. Adam Wharton also missing due to his red card against Chelsea. Canvo is benched. They're replaced by Pino, Hughes and Chadi Riyad, his first start in over a year and first in the league for 18 months. Evan Guesson has joined on loan from Villa but not eligible. Forest made 5 changes for Thursday's Europa League tie against Ferencvaros. Today they revert to the side which won at Brentford. New signing Lorenzo Luca is among the subs. Sells in goal, Aina, Milenkovic, Murillo and Williams. Murillo's 100th appearance for the club. Sangare and Anderson in front. Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White and Dominguez behind Igor Jesus. No win in 11 in all competitions for Palace, who have Henderson in goal, Riyad, Lacroix and Richards, Munoz, Hughes, Lerma and Mitchell, Pino and Johnson behind Sarr. It's Forest Palace at the City Ground.
Thank you, Jeff. Palace have made a formal offer, by the way, for Jurgen Strand-Larsen, worth in excess of £43 million. talkSPORT understands, which is a lot of money for Strand-Larsen. He's young, he's got
understands.
potential.
I find that hard to understand, I have to say.
Yeah.
I don't massively rate him, and it just seems a weird move.
Well, it suggests that Mateta to AC Milan is on. But that's just Max Rushden understands. Yeah. I'd just like to clarify. And I don't really understand. I'm just speculating that if they really want him, then they have to replace Mateta. But yeah, I it's a lot of money but you have to spend quite a lot of money to get someone who isn't brilliant these days. Not like it used to be. 2 million for Gaza. Can you imagine that? It is Max and Barry here until 1:30. Justin Morehouse joins us for Guess the Attendance, and John Brewin before that. We'll do some transfer stuff with him.
I'm doing this gig up a ski slope, end of season in Austria, and I'm with my dad, and we're travelling down to the gondola. It's a big gig, but we'll get up there in a gondola, and my security goes, Maradona's here, and he wants to say hello to you. I'm like, Maradona in Austria? I'm like, yeah, get out of the car, and there's Maradona. And I don't speak Spanish. And, you know, but we're very happy to see each other, and we have our pictures taken together, and we go up in the gondola, and my dad's like, what's your life like, son? I go, it's amazing, isn't it? People like Maradona want to come and see me, And then 2 days later, I'm looking at the news on the Mac, and Maradona is at the Chelsea game. And that Maradona hasn't got a beard at the Chelsea game. That wasn't Maradona that I met.
You know it was.
It was an imposter.
What, claiming to be Maradona?
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. You ever been scammed like that?
Not like that. Maradona come
Didn't you? You scammed someone though, didn't you?
What was that? What
It was
scammed a lot of people, mate. Which one?
You scammed someone to get in a club, didn't you? Saying that we thought you was a monster.
Oh no, that was the guy that was the lead singer.
Tyson Fury, Floyd Mayweather, Canelo Alvarez. Just hearing these names makes you think money and the hundreds of millions of dollars, pounds or Saudi riyals in boxing. But that's at the top. At the bottom, it isn't quite the same. Even for those on the rise, there's not an awful lot of cash in the boxing world. And if you're just starting out, well, it can be a very costly exercise indeed. But don't take my word for it. Here's the former European champion talkSPORT's Spencer Oliver.
You're turning professional and you're boxing, let's say, York Hall on a non-televised fight. You have to sell tickets to earn any money, but you have to cover the wages of your opponent as well. So if you don't have the ability to be able to sell enough tickets, you effectively have to pay to fight.
A far cry then from Jake Paul facing Mike Tyson in 2024, when the purse was reported to be around £48 million. But the vast amounts of cash lining the top dog's pockets isn't the norm in a typical fight.
Let's say you're lucky and you get between 5 and 10 grand. You're going to get 10 grand max for that. 10% goes to the trainer, 25% goes to the manager. Then we've got the tax man to pay as well. So we're cutting that money in at least half. So now you've got 5 grand for a 10-week camp. So you're talking about a guy here earning, he might be clearing 500 quid a week. How do you support a family on that? So boxers chase the dream. And, you know, there's probably 2% of them that actually make it.
So say you do make it and you start to rise up the ranks. Strikers Boxing, a training academy, says the mid-tier fighters can earn more, somewhere between £10,000 and £50,000 a fight, depending on record, profile, opponent and popularity of weight class. It's only at the top level does the real cash start flowing in, with the top-tier professionals, i.e. those going for titles, earning 6 figures a fight. Something else you'll have heard of is the terms prize fighter or journeyman. A prize fighter is, as it sounds, someone who picks up fights where they can and gets a nice big check if they win. Journeymen are the fighters who take on up-and-comers, effectively used for experience in the ring. Even if they're going up against the real prospects, a young Anthony Joshua, for example, these guys will be lucky to earn more than 10 grand. So the average boxer isn't as rich as you'd think.
Good afternoon. This is the world's biggest sports radio station. It's talkSPORT. Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning with you on the warm-up. Brought to you with Travis Perkins. For the latest big trade deals, head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. Now the transfer window closes gently at 7 o'clock tomorrow. There is a special talkSPORT programme hosted by Jim White. He'll be joined by Danny Murphy and our chief football correspondent Alex Crook from 6:30 p.m. talkSPORT will give you the inside track on who your club are signing or who they are not. Online, on smart TV, on our app and on air on talkSPORT. I mean, I don't think we're going to list every player your club is not signing, but it would take an awfully long time. But we'll do our best, of course. This is obviously where you need to be if you want to follow it. Let's do some transfer stuff then with the broadcaster and journalist John Bruin. Hey, John.
Hello, chaps. How are you?
Very well, thank you,
good,
John.
thank you. Always nice to chat. And you were at Wolves yesterday, John, so you saw Jorgen Strand Larsen skew one wide in the flesh. Was that miss worth £43 million? Are we being harsh on this guy? I mean, he's young, he's got potential, he has shown glimpses.
He's had, yeah. I mean, his season has been rather scarred by actually wanting to leave back in August, being accused of wanting to desert a sinking ship. Perhaps not the most popular player at Wolves, and that shank was greeted with a mixed reaction, shall we say? Yeah, I'm not sure that did his valuation any good, but I presume that the deals were all done by then. Listen, he is a talented player. That's why people wanted him. That's why Newcastle wanted him back in the summer. But it hasn't gone well for him, though. He's not alone in that at Wolves, is he? Let's face it.
Do you think he's in any way hamstrung, John, by the fact that he is Norwegian but not as good as Erling Haaland?
Well, I suppose we could say that there's just about every striker in the world has that problem. So,
but they're not all
every
Norwegian.
And every Norwegian has that as well, don't they? Apart from perhaps Odegaard, I don't know.
Well, yeah, maybe Odegaard's problems this season come from the fact that he's having some sort of ego problem when he looks towards Haaland. But yeah, I suppose so. I mean, this is it. I suppose, for a long time, we looked at the Norways and thought they've got Haaland, but they do actually have quite a lot of good players, don't they? So we'll have to see how Strand Larsen goes when he's got the move that he wants. But yeah, I saw him last season. Did think there was quite a decent player there. And yeah, well, just one of those things, isn't it? Wanting a move is the ultimate crime, isn't it? If you're a football fan, I suppose.
Yeah. Sunderland have Latrell Gertrudia, right back. He can also play at centre back. Liverpool are giving him the glad eye. He's on loan at Sunderland from RB Leipzig, I think. I don't want him to leave Sunderland, but I mean, all Sunderland signings have been good, or almost all of them have been good. So a good policy is to just go after whoever they've got.
Yes, well, I suppose Sunderland joined that school, don't they? Of Brighton, Bournemouth, Brentford. The bigger clubs just eventually think, why have they signed him? Or should we sign him? I mean, we talked about the games at Wolves yesterday. I think there's a few clubs that probably watched Match of the Day last night and thought, why didn't we sign that Ryan lad? He looks really good, and they'll probably sign him further down the line. Unfortunately, Barry, I've got news for you that a player is probably likely to want to join Liverpool rather than play at Sunderland. And no disrespect to Sunderland, of course, a club I hold in very high esteem. But yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Sunderland had such a good season. Here's when the carrion bigger clubs come in and just say, right, we're having them.
Yeah, that is. I mean, it's always been us, though. We all know we're in the pecking order, and that's what happens. Has this window been a good window? I feel myself sort of dying inside, even asking the question, John. I don't know.
It's not. The window hasn't been particularly open, has it? I mean, the thing is, the two biggest deals, the two players that everybody wanted, Semenyo and Guehi, was snapped up by Manchester City, who, to use that Gary Neville phrase, are best in class when it comes to getting transfer deals done. And so the rest of the clubs are left scrabbling around. A lot of the bigger clubs are not opening the books. Chelsea obviously are always involved in something somewhere or other. Moves to Strasbourg and interest in Rennes defenders. I suppose Chelsea's search for a centre back is interesting, isn't it? Because they've lacked the big centre back for quite a few years, haven't they? And I think and they're in a row with Anselmino. The problem is with Chelsea, of course, is a lot of the time we don't actually know these players are at Chelsea, do we? Because there's so many of them. Yeah. Even the real dedicated Chelsea fan must think, is he one of ours? Are we...
Well, that's it. What they could do actually is they could just announce on their Twitter. They could just do some announcements of new signings, but of players that have actually been there for 5 years, and none of us would know and be like, "Whoa, they've done quite a lot, haven't they? That's quite impressive." Yeah. So I don't know if it's been that. So I was trying to think, how long has the transfer window been a thing, and is it good? Is it good? Was it better when they just happened any time in the season, or is that a really terrible idea? Like, is there a good reason to have it?
I mean, I suppose the big thing everyone looks back to are those sort of surprise deals. Andy Cole joining Manchester United from Newcastle. I was at university back then, and I remember a Geordie friend of mine running into the one lad who had CFAX on his TV and essentially taking his room hostage and just, waiting for this page to change. And it's a romantic story, that, isn't it? And it's how different, things are. But that was a real shock. And listen, the transfer business is big business. A few people in our trade do very well out of being experts in this. So yeah, I suppose like a lot of things, it's become commodified, hasn't it? But there's nothing like another deal. But Eric Cantona signs from Leeds to Manchester United. It's like, where's that come from? That surprise factor. But I suppose it did. What happens on the week when those deals weren't happening? You got to report on the football then, when that's a bit boring, isn't
it? John. Obviously, sometimes you're professionally obliged to monitor the comings and goings on deadline day. But if you're not, say, how do you feel about deadline day? Do you wake up with an extra pep in your step? Does the air seem fresher? Does food taste nicer? Or are you more like me, who just doesn't pay a blind bit of notice to what's going on and then checks at the following morning to see what happened?
I think I'm a bit more switched on than you are, Barry. I think if
in many ways, John, in many ways.
You don't need to qualify that sentence, John, at all.
I am a bit of a sucker for the yellow ticker, and watching. And I suppose sometimes, when you watch those shows, the transfer shows, and there's nothing happening. I think that's possibly my favourite bit, is when they're trying to make something happen. And, anything can happen on transfer deadline day, and sometimes nothing happens at all. And that's fun too. But, again, we're getting a bit sepia tinged, aren't we? Back to your
it's not like us.
No, it's not. I mean, we never look back at all, do we? We're always looking forward. But, when that first became a big thing, the days of Andy Burton and all that, it was absolutely astounding television to watch, wasn't it? And I suppose, it's like series 20 of The Apprentice. Is it going to live up to its previous iterations? Probably not. But the franchise must keep rolling on.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, Lord Sugar. Thank you. I just can't wait for someone to get fired and go, do you know what? This is a crock of bleep, and I hate the lot of you. F off. There you are. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity. It's a lovely time. You just fired me because I didn't sell enough cheese. I don't know. Anyway. Jeff on the M5 near Chepstow says, I too am more switched on than Barry. Yeah, I'm with you. Look, I am a bit of a sucker for it, John, but I've also been on the other side of it. I've been on talkSPORT. I've said it before. Me and Andy Jacobs had 3 hours, and they want us to do constant, don't do anything but the transfer deadline. And the only thing that happened was Graham Dorrans went on loan to Norwich. Just like, how much can you do a 3-hour Graham Dorrans special? And we managed it. And actually, I really lent in. Of course, I lent into the joy of that. But I think it is different. The Robinho time, that was wow, this is Robinho. But I wonder if, like you're talking about like the Andy Cole thing or the Cantona thing, when they came out of nowhere, like it actually, if there wasn't a window, maybe teams would be less panicky and sort of silly, and then actually you wouldn't have this event day, but you actually would have those kind of, this is just this thing that just appears. Or maybe they wouldn't appear because we weren't finding out on CFAX, and as you say, people have paid lots of money to just tell us constantly that people are interested in someone else. So maybe this has just been 3 middle-aged men being middle-aged.
I mean, bleating about the life we once lived. Yes, yeah.
2015, Max. That's when Graham Dorrans went to Norwich. It was over 10 years ago.
Good play, Graham Dorrans.
He went on loan for a month.
He did.
And you got 3 hours out of that.
yeah. And well, not only that, I've got probably about 3 hours cumulatively by telling that anecdote repeated times in the last 10 years, It's a living, isn't it? Hey, John, well, look, thanks for coming on. I'm not sure what we achieved, but I had a nice time. And you don't always need to achieve something.
Thank you for the opportunity.
You're fired.
You're fired. Thank you so much. This is the warm-up on talkSPORT with Travis Perkins. For the latest big trade deals, head to travisperkins.co.uk or download the app. Guess the attendance is next.
They seem like a different team. Fernandes is picking the ball up in areas he wants to, and it looks like he's controlling that midfield. You've got Mainu who's come back into it. He's really, amazing performances, really, when he hasn't played in the Premier League since probably May, isn't it? Something like that. So, certain players have come. Yeah, certain players have come back in, Ben, and it looks like they've been let off the leash. And some of the goals against Man United, against Arsenal, Cunha's goal was a fantastic winner, but even the second and first goal, Burmo took it so well.
Yeah, I think United have had these players. They've had players that are verging on the edge of world class. They've had them for the last couple of seasons, but they just haven't been able to show it. They haven't been able to go out there and express themselves and play with a smile on the face. I know this system. We all know this system didn't really suit Man United with 3 at the back, and it wasn't rocket science to change it to 4. It really wasn't. So I think everybody is on board with this kind of confidence, and now everybody. But you look at the fixtures they've got as well: Spurs, West Ham, Everton, Palace. The next 4 games. That guy, the one who hasn't cut his hair for a while, the United Strand guy.
United Strand, yeah.
I'm thinking that he doesn't want these to be wins, I'm thinking, like, what's he going to do for content afterwards? So, they've got a massive chance now. They win these 4 games, they're absolutely flying.
Yeah,
Good afternoon. It is Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning with you for the next 10 minutes on the subject of John being more switched on than Barry. Kev says, is Barry even on? Question mark. Anyway, I guess the attendance coming up in just a second. Before that, Nick Allaby is watching the T20 between Sri Lanka and England. How's it going, Nick?
Oh, hello, Max. Yeah, well, it's not kicking off till 1:30, but there's a couple of big stories today. One, Josh Buttler becomes the most capped England player of all time. It's his 402nd appearance across all formats. He overtakes the great Jimmy Anderson. And also, they've got to sort out that batting order, try and get all those pieces into place ahead of the World Cup. So it's in T20 World Cup in India next month. This is game 2 of that 3-match warm-up in Sri Lanka. So similar conditions to India. England won game 1 at a canter, really, chasing down not a huge target by Sri Lanka. 11 runs was the margin of victory. England unchanged. Salt, Butler, Bethel, Banton, Brook, the top 5. Sam Curran at 6 at the moment. Ben Duckett expected to come back into the side, possibly at number 4, to deal with a lot of the spinners that are going to be
be bowling in the middle overs in this tournament next month. So maybe a chance for Tom Banton at 4 to try and stake a claim for his place in the side. And also questions around Harry Brooks' captaincy. Some people calling for him to be stripped of the captaincy after it emerged that he lied about being alone in that nightclub in New Zealand before the Ashes. He got hit by a nightclub bouncer, and actually young Jacob Bethel was along with him. So questions over Harry Brook, off the field, but not on it at the moment. He continues in sparkling form with the bat.
We talked to Cameron Ponsonby from The Athletic about this yesterday, Nick. We approve of Harry Brook not grassing up his mates, or is it a sign that somebody above him, they could have, because he's obviously like lying to journalists who know that he's lying in front of them when he's talking about this, and actually, like people above him could have just made this all slightly. It's not their fault that he went out to a nightclub and got punched by a bouncer, but like they could have worked this out in a more seamless way.
I think you're right. Yes, he was captain of he's captain of the white ball team. He shouldn't really be having England's youngest, brightest star out with him, setting a bad example. Harry Brook's behaviour was reprehensible, but I think we can understand trying to sort of protect them. And in terms of the flack that Harry Brook is getting, this is a player that we need to protect, and also he plays with an incredible freedom, and we don't want to shackle him. So I think he's been fined. He's got his first official warning from the ECB. I think he understands that was a serious false step. And I hope he does keep his place, because in terms of with the bat, he is the pretender to Joe Root's throne at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff, Nick. Thanks very much. A live commentary on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT YouTube channel. I just love this show, says Nick in Sheffield. It's radio on another level. Don't ever stop. Nick, I don't know how much radio have you listened to, Nick, is what I would suggest you'd say. But
he didn't say it was necessarily a high level. He just said another level.
Another level. Barca Jim, friend of the show, says he's more standby Barry than switched on Barry, I reckon. Anyway, let's play Guess the Attendance. Today, top comedian Justin Moorhouse takes on top journalist Barry Glendenning. Welcome, Justin.
Hello, you all right?
We're very well, good, thank you. Where do we find you, Justin?
Yeah.
Where do we find you?
I'm at
Oh dear. This line is tricky. Maybe do we get him on an old-fashioned telephone? Maybe he's trying to make the line sound bad after Barry's heartless demolition of him last week. Should we cross to Justin one more time? Justin Moorhouse, can you hear us? Now, what we want to do...
I still feel a bit bad about last week's
that's okay.
win.
Guess the Attendance is Guess the Attendance. It lives in its own bubble. And obviously, when we struggle to get Justin, what we really want is Adrian Moorhouse on speed dial. But as yet, we've failed to find or get in touch with Adrian Moorhouse to be on the line every week. A bit like a sort of Scott Carson, like a second keeper. I always have Olympic gold medalist Adrian Moorhouse there, just on the off chance that Justin Moorhouse, his line isn't great or he doesn't answer his phone. And for some reason, I think he's like a motivational speaker now, Adrian Moorhouse, because I did some digging onto finding Adrian Moorhouse.
I don't really have an opinion on Adrian Moorhouse, but I think if he agreed to just be on standby at this time every Sunday without ever being sure of getting a game, I would think less of him.
I would think more of him. I would think absolutely mightily. How many Olympic gold medal winning swimmers are humble enough, do you think, to be the reserve Guess the Attendance
There's
guesser?
humility and there's being an absolute doormat.
This text says, I'll play Guess the Attendance. Anyway, here now today, top comedian Justin Moorhouse takes on top journalist Barry Glendenning. Welcome, Justin.
Are you all right?
Yes, we're good, thank you. Old-fashioned telephone. This sounds like Radio 2 with Peter Jones in the 1980s. Yes. This is exciting stuff. But the attendances are from today. Well, from yesterday, but, they're from 2026. Shall we begin at Elland Road? Leeds 0, Arsenal 4. Stuart Atwell of Nuneaton refereed this game. But Justin Moorhouse, how many were there at Elland Road to watch Arsenal put one hand on the Premier League trophy?
34,000.
34,000. Barry Glendenning.
34,001.
36,858. It is 1-0 to Barry Glendenning. We go now to the Championship at Hillsborough. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Wrexham 1. Sam Smith, former Cambridge United centre forward, scored in the 58th minute. David Webb of Lancashire, England, refereed this game. But Barry, how many were there at Hillsborough to watch this one?
I will say 36,200. And I would say that in the knowledge that I could be about 18,000 out. But anyway, 36,200.
Justin Morehouse.
I think half the ground's closed, isn't it? 36,199.
23,000.
Yeah.
294. Obviously, love to Sheffield Wednesday, given all the things they are going through right now. Did you know the breaking news, Justin, that Javi Gracia has resigned as Watford manager? Because when we heard it, Barry, Justin, that was when we found out that he was the Watford manager. I don't know if you're across who manages Watford.
No, I didn't know. Understand that.
There you are. Well, he's not there now, so it was information that you didn't, that none of us needed, which was quite good. Anyway, Watford 0, Swansea 2. Matthew Corbett, I think it is. Obviously host of the Sooty and Sweep show, but also referee at the Championship level of Merseyside, England. Refereed Watford 0, Swansea 2. But how many were there, Justin, to see Javi Gracia's last game as Watford manager until he becomes Watford manager again after Quique Sanchez-Flores resigns in about 6 months' time?
19,000.
19,000, Barry.
18,999.
18,691. 2-1 to Barry Glendenning. Oh, could this be 2 wins in a row for Barry?
I thought Tom Cleverley was Watford manager.
I think he was once. I think he might be Plymouth manager now.
Okay, right.
It's very hard to keep up.
It is.
Yeah.
If only there was some sort of round-the-clock sports radio station with which to furnish myself with all this information.
Max.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
We're at the we're in the doing this guest the attendance thing and it's just numbers, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm actually at the biggest news sports story in Britain at the moment, live on the ground.
Oh, what's happened?
I'm at the Glazer protest.
Oh, are you? How's it going?
Just lots of people shouting and singing and green smoke. That's the comprehensive report.
Do you think they'll be cowed by this protest? The green smoke, will that tip them over the edge?
I'll be honest with you, I'm concentrating on numbers.
Right.
Which is
Good
what
stuff.
they should do, really.
Yeah. Wolves 0, Bournemouth 2. Michael Oliver of Northumberland refereed the game. But how many were there at Molineux, Barry?
34,220 people.
Justin.
What under?
30,161. It's 2 apiece, and we finish. We're at Boundary Park. Oldham 0, Cambridge United 3. 6 in a row for Cambridge United, 14 unbeaten. Ruben Ricardo of Leicestershire refereed the game. Ben Knight with a penalty, Louis Apparet with 2. But how many were there to watch the mighty U's go second in League 2 for the win? Justin.
Boundary Park is the highest football ground in Britain, isn't it?
No, that would be
the Hawthorns.
Port Vale. Port Vale in it, actually.
Hawthorns.
8,000.
7,999.
Yeah, I've gone too far.
7,012. The final score, Justin 2, Barry 3. 2 wins in a row for Barry. Thank you, Justin.
Bye.
Thank you, Baz.
Thank you, everybody.
Sam Matterface is next.